In today's video, we are going to discuss the femme fatale character trope. Where and how did it originate, and the different types portrayed in film? Let's get into it. The term femme fatale derives from a French phrase meaning deadly woman or lethal woman. So what is a femme fatale? A femme fatale is an attractive and seductive woman, especially one who is likely to cause distress or disaster to a man who becomes involved with her. The femme fatale exists in many cultures, folklores, and mystical worlds where they are referred to as an enchantress or a witch, also called man-eaters, vamps, seductress, temptress, siren, and the charmer. In film, these are stock characters or archetypes of beautiful women who are seductive and mysterious, who use their charm and our feminine energy to entrap their lovers, often leading them into compromising and deadly situations. They are known for their prowess and their ability to enchant and have power over men. Femme fatales are typically villainous or at least morally ambiguous, and always associated with a sense of mystification and unease. Even going back to biblical references, some people equate the first woman, Eve, in the Bible as a femme fatale due to her influence over Adam. Also, Delilah in the Bible, who was bribed to figure out the strengths of the powerful Samson so that she could cut off his hair to weaken him. And then there is Jezebel in the Bible, who's linked to the phrase fallen or abandoned woman. One perception of her states that she used seduction and manipulation to lure or mislead others into idolatry, heresy, and immorality. Cleopatra is another known figure associated with being a femme fatale, known for her powerful leadership and control she had over men who would fall to her feet. It was said that Julius Caesar and Mark Antony's obsession with her is what led to the fall of the Roman Empire. So she took down a whole empire just to give you a glimpse of how powerful these women can be. In Greek mythology, Clytemnestra is said to be one of the most notorious femme fatales due to the way she plotted and avenged her daughter's death by taking out her husband. Other famous femme fatales in history are Marie Antoinette, and in literature, Hedda Gabler, a character from a play written by Henrik Ibsen, who was willful and narcissistic to get what she wanted at the expense of manipulating her husband and friends. I read this play in college, and I will say the mind games and the tactics that she used, you definitely did not want to be her target, and she was not someone you wanted to play with. So the idea of the unbridled, unrestrained, or uncontrolled, liberated woman who uses her femininity to advance or to keep her power trickles down into the 1940s and 50s when we have the film noir era. So film noir is a French cinematic term used to primarily describe stylish Hollywood crime dramas. These films had a post-World War II backdrop, were low-key, and had a black and white visual style. These films were influenced by the stories and the attitude of the Great Depression. The 1940s and 50s were regarded as the classic period in American film noir. Now, it is said that film noir is not a genre, but a style of film. Usually in these films, there is a detective or a private eye type figure who is usually the central character who is investigating a crime by some law-abiding citizen who is lured into a life of crime or a victim of circumstance. Now, inside of this style of film, you will see other genres such as your old classic gangster films, procedurals, gothic romance, and social issues, and the most memorable stock character, the femme fatale, the intelligent, mysterious, and seductive woman who seems to be tied to the plot and the thick of it all, which is why these characters are so compelling. Now, why the surge of film noir and the femme fatale in the 40s and 50s? Well, during World War II, when men were sent off to fight in the war, women were called into action to work in factories and to help create war equipment to aid the war. For one of the first times, women were able to work and be independent, and this caused women to feel powerful and liberated. This led to women empowerment and female ambition in the Rosie the Riveter campaign, with the picture of a woman in overalls flexing her muscle. It was said that this caused paranoia for men that women had gained too much power and independence and were no longer or only interested in being mothers and homemakers. This threw gender roles off balance and was very scary to men. It was said to have caused post-war discomfort. This caused the soldiers returning home from the war to question and worry that their precious wives or girlfriends may have been unfaithful to them while they were away overseas, causing them to obsess over female fidelity. There was anxiety that women were now unleashed and unhinged. When these men returned home from the war, they wanted everything to be the same as when they left. The woman inside of the home while the men outside working. But instead, they got the newly liberated woman who wanted to continue her newly found freedom. Now, this caused many a discord between couples, even if the woman had been faithful. And of course, the film industry capitalized off this moment. A prime example of this is the movie Gilda, played by Rita Hayworth, who decides to make her husband jealous by entertaining other men, and is also a good example of the theme perception versus reality, or imagination versus reality. Also, if you want to know more about the 40s and women working during that time, I do have a video on that, and I will put that link in the description. Now let's get into the different types of femme fatales portrayed in film. Number 1, the misrepresented femme fatale. This type is deemed sneaky or untrustworthy, manipulative, or falsely accused of using her body or her looks to get what she wants, based solely off of her appearance, or how she is perceived, and or how she expresses her femininity. This woman is usually innocent and does not have any ill intent, and all while still understanding the power that her beauty and femininity possesses. They like to look and feel sexy, but may be punished for it and often associated with distrust, and are usually redeemed at the end. An example of this would be Jessica Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Number 2, the ambitious career woman. Now, this type will do anything to protect what she loves. This femme fatale does not want to be restricted to gender roles and takes pride in their independence. They have a need and a will to create success and power for themselves and will do what it takes to get it. Now, this type is usually driven by a weakness which acts as their kryptonite, which also causes them to protect this particular weakness fiercely and sometimes blindly. Now, a good example of this would be Cersei from the Game of Thrones, and how she loved her children and how ruthless she was when it came to protecting them. Now, Game of Thrones is one of my absolute all-time favorite television shows, and as much as I wanted to hate Cersei, it was very endearing and very captivating to watch how she would go to extreme lengths to protect her children. And also Joan Crawford's character in the film Mildred Pierce, in which she plays a patsy to her spoiled daughter who uses and mistreats her and is willing to do anything to fulfill her daughter's selfish wishes. Number 3, the materialistic femme fatale. This type loves wealth and wants the finer things in life and will do anything to get it. This type is very well aware of her beauty and charisma and the effect that it has on others, and will use it to her advantage to get what she wants, especially to maintain privilege or what is considered the good life. Now, going back to the film Mildred Pierce, the character that plays her daughter, Vita Pierce, who is young and beautiful and takes advantage of her mother's love for her. She manipulates, lies, blackmails, even has an affair with her mother's husband, all in order to maintain her lavish lifestyle. She was ruthless, you hear me? She did not care. Now, this one was very interesting to me because her actions were not aimed at men, but her mother. Number 4, the vengeful femme fatale. This type is usually a woman who was good and honest at first, but was treated badly or taken advantage of by people and our society in some way that was not justified, causing her to have a cynical view of the world and wanting revenge. This woman was not protected when she should have been, which causes her to use her femininity as a weapon, like a rebel with a cause. A good example of this would be Faye Dunaway's character in the movie Chinatown, who was innocent but treated very badly, and Carey Mulligan's character in Promising Young Woman, where she targets perpetrators of crimes of women, and the character Amy in Gone Girl, whose extreme motives revolve around seeking revenge on her cheating husband, who she feels deserves the treatment. Number 5, the literal femme fatale, the literal man-eater, as seen in Megan Fox's character in the movie Jennifer's Body, are robots or artificial beings created to destroy men, as seen in the film Ex Machina. Number 6, the bored housewife or woman who wants to escape her reality and society's pressures. These types usually feel controlled and looked over by their husband and are unhappy and frustrated in their marriage and place in life. They do not feel valued or useful at this point to their significant other. They feel trapped and will do anything to get out. An example of this would be the character Phyllis Dietrichson in Double Indemnity, in which she seduces her lover to take out her husband for insurance money, or the movie The Stepford Wives starring Nicole Kidman. Number 7, the faded beauty. This type is driven by her beauty and was used to getting what she wanted, but is now older and fearful that her beauty will fade, not yielding her the advantages and privileges she had when she was younger and beautiful. This type becomes obsessed with not aging or has a difficult time getting over the fact that they are aging. They have a will to hold on to the one thing that gave them power, their beauty, and will do whatever it takes to maintain it. An example would be the character Norma Desmond in Sunset Boulevard, who is desperate to win back her film career, fame, and fortune. Number 8, the psychological gamer. Now in movies, this type is beyond ruthless. They are rotten to the bone. Beware. They will take you out if they have to. They love these psychoanalytical mind games. They get off on it. It turns them on. They are mental giants. Very cerebral, very smart, cold, and calculating. They are the epitome of the cat and mouse game. If tried, they most likely will win. Because they tend to get inside of people's heads and are great manipulators, they tend to linger longer in their jilted lover's mind and heart. They are most likely to become obsessed or have someone become obsessed with them. One of the first examples that come to mind of this type, and you probably guessed it, is Sharon Stone's character, Catherine Tramiel, in the film Basic Instinct. Now, if you don't believe me, or if you haven't seen the film, watch the first scene of the movie to see how fatal this type can be or what you are in store for. Number 9, the real-life femme fatale. Now, of course, this type can be just as toxic as you've seen them in movies, but on the flip side, these are women who are confident, beautiful, appealing, and are just magnetic. People are drawn to them and therefore sometimes have a problem getting over them in relationships. They are unique and unpredictable and very capable, independent, and very well aware of their effect on others and can choose to play it up or down. They like control, which doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. These are women who have presence and strong feminine energy and the ability to change the energy of a room. Usually people gravitate towards them. These women are powerful and they know it and can use this in a positive way. And number 10, well, I left that spot open for you all to comment in the comment section of any types that I may have forgotten that you think should be added to the list. Other famous femme fatales that I want to give honorable mention to is Catwoman, Robin Givens in Boomerang, Dorothy Dandridge in Carmen Jones, Mrs. Grail in Farewell My Lovely, some Bond girls from the James Bond films, Sally Richardson Woodfield's character in A Low Down Dirty Shame, and Jennifer Jason Leigh's character in Single White Female, just to name a few. Now, the problem or the reason some find this trope troubling is because some find it to be misogynistic, meaning that the femme fatale denotes or notions that women need to be tamed or reined in, and that a woman that is liberated or exerts too much feminine energy is somehow dangerous, promiscuous, and toxic, and therefore too much of a formidable opponent to their male counterparts. On the other hand, some see the femme fatale as too feministic, stating that it's anti-men and that it also emasculates them, and some people see them as both. There is also a theory that the femme fatale trope was inserted strategically in movies as a reminder of why gender roles are important and that the femme fatale is representative of what happens when they are not. Last but not least, what makes the femme fatale so interesting and irresistible? I think the same reason why some people are attracted to the bad boy type. They are exciting and they have an element of danger that keep you interested. It may be why some people like riding roller coasters. It's a rush, the adrenaline. I think femme fatales have that element that make people feel alive. They are different, unique, and they have beauty and brains. Their intelligence is a very attractive quality, and when you couple that with their physical beauty, it makes them hypnotic because they intrigue you both physically and mentally. They are like human chess pieces. They are clever, and although sometimes they use their strengths for bad, I think they are fun to watch. In film, it's very intriguing to see how these characters take power and how they are able to turn the good guy and open him to his dark side or awaken something else inside of him that he didn't even know existed. They are masterminds, and who doesn't love watching a brilliant mind, although you don't want to fall victim to it. But I think the true reason that the femme fatale is so irresistible is because they show the crux of what it means to be human. They display the good and the bad traits, and they remind us of our vulnerabilities and temptations and the most dormant, hidden sides of us that can be awakened with the right person, under the right circumstance, at any moment. So that's all we have for today's video. Please feel free to comment your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Also, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.